Hi, this is Antonino Secchi. I'm an orthodontist from Devon, Pennsylvania. And once again here for the Orthodontic Exchange podcast, GC. And I'm very happy to have today Dr. Shari Wolsky with us. She's a practicing orthodontist in Colorado. And I know that she got a great story that she's willing to share with us. Dr. Wolsky, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Yeah. So I know that you start your career in Ohio.
Yes.
Is that true? Mm-hmm. Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you decide to go to dental school? Any specific reason? I know that you have braces. And did you like orthodontics from the very beginning? Or
So I guess my history started, my mother was a physician practicing. She's retired now, but, and so I always thought I would kind of follow in her footsteps and maybe go into medicine.
Yeah.
And then when I was in high school, I had quite an experience orthodontically myself. I had an impacted canine, went through the whole 9 yards, and I loved my orthodontist. He was very inspiring. He was having fun at work, and he was just talking to people.
Yeah.
And so I kind of, it sparked my interest a little bit, plus the medical part of it and the surgeries that I had. But I still was kind of leaning towards medicine. And then I went to undergrad at University of Michigan. And when I was there, I made a bunch of friends in the dorm. And my mother knew I was on the pre-med, pre-dental track. But one summer I called and said, hey, Mom, all my friends, we're going to go to New York City next summer. We're going to get jobs. We're all going to business school. And she'd be like, okay, honey, that's fine, but don't forget to sign up for OChem for next semester. You know, like in the back of my mind, she kept pushing me to keep that track. And then the next year, new friends, oh, Mom, we're going to go to Chicago. We're all going to law school together. That's fine, honey, but make sure you sign up for physics, you know, like just kept me on track. So
that's good.
Yeah, and when push came to shove, none of those plans, happened. So, and then I kind of had the interest of dentistry in my background from what I'd been through, and just talking to my mom, and a lot of changes were happening in medicine at the time. And so she thought, this dental school thing might be a good fit for you. When I went in to apply, orthodontics was the only thing I was interested in. But when I went into dental school, probably like a lot of people, I liked everything. I liked oral surgery, I liked perio, and so I'm like, maybe I should just stay general dentist because I can do everything. And then when the application time came around,
did you practice dentistry for a little bit? No.
I did hygiene as a side job here and there, but I thought, well, maybe it's so competitive. I think, well, maybe I'll just apply and see what happens. And so I did apply, and then I got in, and I was still a little bit on the fence for a little bit. And then I decided to just make the move, and I'm so glad I did.
Oh, nice, nice. And you went for dental school at Case
Western Reserve, yes, in Cleveland.
And for orthodontics?
Back to University of Michigan.
How was your experience there?
It was amazing.
Yes, a good school. Yeah, Lyle Johnston was the head of the department?
Jim McNamara was the chair he was the interim chair when I was there.
Okay.
But it was a crazy story. I had applied, but my application must have gotten lost or something. And they had already had all their interviews. And I was at home in Ohio because I was living at home when I was in dental school. And I get this phone call on my parents' phone number. And it says, this is Dr. Jim McNamara calling from the University of Michigan. And I'm like, this is a prank call. And they had lost my application, and he had found it. And he said, we really want you to come tomorrow for the last day of interviews. Can you make it? So I did. Drove up there. It was a 3-hour drive. And he immediately, when I walked in, there were probably 30 people there. He knew who I was because he had just talked to me on the phone. So I think that helped a little bit.
Yeah.
And then like 2 days later, they called and said, we want you to come here.
Oh, my God. That's a great story.
Yeah. So it was like meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you went back to home to practice?
Went back to Ohio. Yeah. So my husband and I are both from the Cleveland area. So we knew we kind of wanted to stay there. And I worked as an associate for a little while, and then, like a lot of people, my husband was saying, you need to open your own practice. I'm like, no, I'm too scared. I don't want to be my own boss. I like being around a lot of other people. I didn't want to do it. But then an opportunity came up, and there was a friend of a friend who was a pediatric dentist, and he was looking to open an office. And so we met, and we found a space, and we're like, I guess, okay, I'm going to do it. So,
how was the start? A little bit difficult, or it was fine?
The start?
Yeah.
It was probably pretty typical, like, not knowing what you're doing and hoping that, you build out this office, take out a big loan, and hoping that patients will start to show up, so.
And then you practiced for quite a while there,
Yes. Yeah. It was 13 years.
Wow.
But my husband and I had always wanted to live in Colorado. We thought that was our retirement plan. So it wasn't on our front burner, it was more on the back burner.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, like everybody else in practice, I was getting to the point where I had to do some staff raises. And I was complaining to a dentist friend of mine, oh, raise time is coming up. I just don't want to give them a raise. I just want to figure out a system that's, fair to everybody, but I just hate everyone assuming they're just going to get this raise. And he said, oh, you need to meet my consultant. And his name was John. I'm like, consultant, that's not really my thing. I don't really want to do it. He said, no, just talk to him. He'll help you out with your payroll. So I met with him, and it was something I just didn't, when practice is going well and it's growing and you're doing your day-to-day things, sometimes you just don't look at the big picture, but things were going smoothly. I had a million reports I could print, but I didn't know what they all meant,
Exactly.
So I brought in the consultant, and he helped me establish like a bonus system for payroll, which was amazing. But then he took it one step further, and he wanted to analyze the growth and help with production and getting costs down and things like that. So reluctantly, I signed up, and he knew that our long-term goal was to end up in Colorado. So he had helped us out for a couple of years, and it was amazing. It was a really great experience. We trimmed a lot of costs, got very, much more profitable. Everyone was happy. We had a great bonus system in place. It was going really well, and there were only one or two other orthodontists near this town where I was, so it was a pretty good setup there.
Nice.
So, but he knew that we had this plan. One day we wanted to live in Colorado, and he called me up one day and he said, "There's this orthodontist. He's in the mountains. He's near Vail, Colorado, but he wants to sell his practice and move to San Francisco." And through a friend of a friend, he found out about it, and he said, "Is there any chance you want to go look at this practice? Are you interested in moving?" My kids were in high school, and I'm like,
that's what I'm gonna ask
I don't know, if we want to do this. We really want to do it, but I didn't think it was the right time. But I said, maybe we should just go look. So we happened to be going out to Colorado for spring break, which we did every year with our kids skiing. And as it turned out, the funny thing was the doctor who was leaving the practice, he wasn't going to San Francisco. He was going to Frisco, Colorado, which is right there.
Yeah,
it's just
right
a small
there.
Town right next
It's
to.
beautiful.
It is. But it was just funny because the consultant, being from Ohio, had no idea where Frisco was.
Frisco, San Francisco.
So,
Yeah.
So we looked at it, we talked about it, and we decided it wasn't the right time. So that was in the spring of 2011. And then the summer of 2011, my friends and I, we took another couple out to Colorado for 4th of July weekend, just to go for a weekend for vacation. And we were early heading back to the Denver airport. And we stopped. My friend says, let's just stop in this area, near downtown Denver. I've never been there before. I want to check it out. We had time. So we pull into this area in Cherry Creek, and we parked next to a Starbucks. And next door, it said orthodontist. And I'm like, really? Maybe I should just go say hello, And I walked in, and the girl behind the front desk said, "Oh, are you one buying practice?"
Wow.
I'm like, "Oh, is the practice for sale?" And she's like, "Yeah." And it just spiraled from there, and one thing led to another. And we met with the owner, came back 2 weeks later. And then my husband and I are like, are we doing this? And we decided we were going to do it.
So you sold your practice in Ohio.
Yeah.
And then...
the consultant I'd been working with, he knew someone who was interested in my practice in Ohio.
Meant
so
to be.
all these things seemed like it was meant to be. The only thing we had to do was tell our family.
Yeah, and the kids, they were in high school or...
The kids, they kind of, we always said when we would come back from vacation, one day we're going to move here. One day we're going to move here. And then... when we finally told them, they were like, what? So my son was a senior in high school.
Okay.
My daughter was in 10th grade, and my other daughter was in 8th grade.
Wow. So that practice that you bought, you have to start pretty much, not from scratch,
So pretty much. So there were 2 locations. One was in Cherry Creek. The other one was in Littleton, where I practice now, which is more of the suburbs. And at the time, I said, okay, I'll buy both offices as part of the same practice, and we'll, just make it work. But since I had already done a startup, I felt like it didn't really, I knew, even though it might not have had great numbers, that I could put my 2 cents in and make it what I wanted to. So we bought both offices. Within a year, I decided 2 locations was too much for me. With the kids' ages, and the drive was just too much traffic back down to Denver. So I sold one of them, the one in Cherry Creek, kept the one that's in Littleton, and then just put all my effort into that.
That's great. Wow.
Yeah, so
now, have you seen a lot of changes in the way that you practice and you started it until, let's say, right now? And because of the changes in the practice, or just because things have changed?
I mean, I feel like my training and my practice in Ohio, we did a lot of phase 1 treatment, and we market to see kids early, by like the AAO recommends by age 7. So that I don't know I don't think that's really changed, but I'm sure everyone would agree that aligners has changed a lot of things. And just the knowledge and just getting the information out to the public, so many adults that never would have come back for braces are interested in straightening their teeth.
So you have a large percentage of aligners in your practice?
I have, I wouldn't say large. I'd say maybe 30-35% of aligners. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you seen that in the last year or two being steady or a little decline?
It's interesting. I really feel like it's a little bit up and down. Like last summer, we had a lot of aligner patients, but then in the fall to now, I think my numbers have dropped a little bit of aligners, and it's now back in braces.
Yeah, so, that's what what we feel too in our office, that the aligners kind of they've been down a little bit in the last 8 months, and braces are coming up. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So.
Wow. So that's impressive, because I know that many orthodontists, they always think about maybe moving because to change the lifestyle, and they're worried about doing it, and you're proving that you can do it.
Can.
No, I mean, I know it might not be that easy, but it can be done, and at the end it works.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken a while to build it back up where I was in Ohio, but I feel like we've had steady growth every year, so I think that's been a positive.
Yeah. Any besides the aligners, any technologies that you're using in your practice on a daily basis that you feel like they have changed?
When I first started out, probably similar to people who graduated when I did, we used to see patients almost once a month.
Yeah.
And so now, we're like 6 to 8 week intervals for most adjustments. So I feel like that changes the flow of the practice and allows you to see. Well, you can see more patients without having to see them as often.
Exactly.
So,
So you typically see people between 6 to 8 weeks. That's kind of
aligners like 8 to 12. So I mean, I like my patients. I like to see them, and I like to keep tabs on them. And I've always, like, our office is very family oriented. Like, it's kind of an open concept. There's no walls really, and so when a family comes in, they're mom's bringing in the 4 kids, and I know that 8-year-old sitting in the chair might be my next patient. So even though maybe I don't need to see them back every 3 months to check a phase 1 retainer, I want to keep tabs on that, so just keep that relationship
and
going.
What about the staff members? It was different to the relationship or the hiring process in Ohio and then Colorado, or do you see any?
Yeah, cost of employees is way higher in Colorado than Ohio, but I do feel like COVID probably changed a lot of that everywhere. So so that's the most difficult part of running a practice, I think. That is staff.
Definitely the human resources.
Yes.
Yeah, we saw in your website that you guys have a really fun practice. I mean, you're trying to be very kind of engaged with the staff members. And do you train them specifically to do that, or? So
when I hire the staff, and we've just built these days in over the years that my staff who's been with me for a long time, they know what the days are. We have certain marketing, certain times of the year. And we do a couple outreach in the community, like sponsoring 5K races and going to schools, things like that. So those things, we just take the new people along, and then they see it and they look forward to it. It's fun. Yeah.
So you've been having the same stuff for a while, because I see that's a problem for many people. These days that they complain that people go they kind of move a lot, they rotate and stuff.
I feel like when I was in Ohio, my staff was much more steady. Colorado, it's been a little more up and down.
A little more up and down.
But I feel like also COVID probably contributed to that. So that would have been anywhere, I think.
So. And well, outside the orthodontics, I mean, you moved to Colorado for the lifestyle, no? What do you guys like to do?
We're skiers.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually have a place up in the mountains. So we go up in the winter almost every weekend that we can. This year's been a little different with the weather, but and then summer too, we're up there a lot.
Nice.
And we're
hiking. So I mean, I love Colorado. I was telling you that we've been going to Leadville. Please don't go too much. So we want to keep it like this, but it's beautiful. So we end up going there because of the Leadville 100.
Oh, really?
I never done it, but it's in my bucket list. It's a beautiful. And your kids, there anyone in dentistry or
no? But they're all in very wonderful careers in healthcare. Yes. So, my youngest daughter, she came the closest to following me. But she just really, her passion became more working with kids in psychology.
Okay.
So that's her field.
Yeah.
So
anything that you will tell recently graduate or maybe still residents, any advice for the future of orthodontics or what they need to look into it? Specifically females, because I know it's a little bit different, and the number of the ratio between male and females now is changing a lot in dentistry and in orthodontics too.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are not necessarily concerned about opening their own practice, but they see what kind of money they might be able to get in a DSO. And I think that's changed the landscape over the past 6 to 7, 8 years. Because, I was approached by a couple DSOs a few years ago, and, they certainly try to entice you with some nice, money.
Yeah.
So I could see if you're coming out of school and you've got a lot of loan payments you need to make, why that would be nice,
appealing,
at least to start off. But I would tell people not to be afraid to eventually make that leap into private practice, because really it's so flexible. You can make of it what you want, especially if you do have a partner who can, who's contributing income wise, that might make it easier in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I feel like that my kids, I always wanted to take my kids to school. So I couldn't get to my office until 8:45. That was our first patient. I never changed that. So now I can wake up in the morning, I can go work out. My kids are long gone, but I feel like as long as I'm at my office by 8:45, I have my day in the morning. That's my flexibility. Like, I chose to do that. And if I had something that was like an event at school and I wanted to go to Halloween parade, I would just ask my staff, we're going to move these patients. So I feel like it's hard to do that sometimes when you...
But you had the flexibility to do...
So you just have to kind of be brave enough. Like, people always say, I would never take off work over Christmas break because that's when all the kids want to come in.
Yeah.
If you can't get someone in over Christmas break, they'll come in January. If they want to come to your practice, it's going to happen. They're not going to pick a different practice because you're not open, when they want to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if they do, then that's not the kind of patient you want in private practice anyways.
Yeah. So I mean, I see that happening a lot. People are just worried about going outside and open their own office. Specifically, females, they say, well, I mean, I want to start my family, raising kids. But I think, as you said, it's much more flexible, and it might be a little bit intimidating. But
even banks, and when you are willing to, they'll work with you. So if you are trying to finance a practice, if you can, make your minimum payment and still manage to have a minor salary, but you can raise your kids, take off 6 weeks if you need to, do this and that. I mean, it's, in the grand scheme of things, it's a short period of time as compared to the long run of owning it. The benefit will be there.
Yeah, wow, that's been great. So, I mean, and you've been in Colorado for almost a decade now?
14 years.
Oh, wow, 14 years. Wow.
Yeah, so just as long as I practiced in Cleveland, now I've done it in Denver.
Yeah. And it's important, I think, just to have the support of your partners to dispose. I mean, with all these movements. Yeah. That's great. So, any other talking a little bit about the mechanics. I know that we've been talking about the lifestyle, but talking about specifically the orthodontic part. You typically use a wire sequence. You change the wires.
So my bracket, that is something that's changed over the years. I use fewer wires than I used to. Because now we're longer intervals between patients, and you see a lot of good things happen with some tie wires.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it wasn't like that. I mean, like a decade ago, or maybe So and any specific appliances that you use for class 2 cases, or you use just elastics, or? Yeah,
mostly elastics and like, the carrier distalizer version of some kind of distalization. And I use a lot of bonded palatal expanders. That's what I learned at University of Michigan with Jim McNamara. It was the greatest thing ever. It's so easy, and it goes right over the deciduous teeth if we want it to, and just it's a great thing. So, and then as far as like brackets in, for teenagers, I use an 018 slot bracket, which isn't as popular, I don't think, as it used to be. We start with like an 012 NiTi, and then go to an 016.
So you still use 018? You got used to it?
Still?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. I mean, typically people stay with the kind of use, and they don't change. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, early treatment is, especially when you start from scratch, my experience too, early treatment is a great way to build your practice, because typically teenagers are all taken. So you need to start from either younger kids or adults. So, I mean, coming from the University of Pennsylvania, we were really strong we are strong in the transverse dimension too. Yeah. So a lot of expanders, a lot of things. So, well, I mean, Dr. Wolsky, thank you very much for that great conversation. I think that there is a lot of things that a lot of folks, specifically younger orthodontists, will take from your experience. And just thank you very much. And I hope you have a great time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.